the eve of night one of the NFL Draft. You're rocking and rolling right here, hottest show in these streets. We're talking your Alabama football news in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Welcome on in here on a hump day. Glad you guys can be a part of the show. We bring you the show from the magic city of Birmingham. We stream this to you through YouTube. Speaking of the channel, you know what time it is. You smash that subscribe button. You hit subscribe, tap subscribe right now. Share the show. Get every friend, family member, diehard Bama fan, casual Bama fan, consumer of Tide football to hit subscribe as well. Also, don't forget to like the show. Tap the like button, hit the like button, give us a thumbs up right there. Raise those like levels up, trying to get this 50 likes to start the show. We appreciate you guys at daily. Super Chat Go, $100 daily. Super Chat Go right there, $100. We appreciate all of you for making this your place to talk Crimson Tide football. Also, hit that notification bell so that way you miss absolutely nothing when it comes down to your Bama football coverage. But got a lot to get into this evening. We want to hear from you, the Bama fans. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. Number right there on the screen, 205-448-1358. One more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. But John, we're going to hop right into the conversation, and that being on Tuesday, yesterday, the Alabama fan base pretty much stunned because news came out in regards to, could Alabama pursue a quarterback from the NCAA transfer portal? And the news had broke. Just so happened to be on one Tyler Buchner, who came Notre Dame, former Notre Dame quarterback. You know, he decided to put his name in the portal as of Tuesday, and there were several reports that came out saying he's going to visit Alabama, he's going to come to Tuscaloosa. You know, Tommy Rees was his offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. Now Tommy Rees at Alabama. Could Tommy Rees be bringing this guy in here to be quarterback? There's just so much stuff, reports happening out there in the world of social media, and it got a whole lot of people talking and people conversating, having conversations and wondering, does Alabama pursue a quarterback from the transfer portal? And if it does, is this the guy that they pursue from the portal? Now, Tyler Buchner from Notre Dame, like I said, worked with Tommy Rees, so he knows Rees's system, he knows Rees's offense. Rees coached him, that type of ordeal there. I do not see Buchner playing at Alabama. I don't see him getting a scholarship at the University of Alabama. I think personally, this is just one of those things where Tommy Rees just doing something cool for the family, bringing him in, letting him visit, talking to the young man, probably telling him, hey, man, we got no room here on the roster. We got no quarterback room on the roster. We got four guys that we really like, that we really want to develop down here. We got no room. Now, if you want to be a GA, getting to coaching at some point, we may have room for you there in terms of being a GA. But in terms of playing at the University of Alabama, not necessarily any room there. So could be a situation where, Tommy Rees wanting to show the family of Buchner some love and just having them in for a talk, for a conversation, and probably letting them understand that, hey, there's no room here on the roster. You look at the University of Alabama football program at the quarterback position, just due to, as I said, Bama's got four scholarship quarterbacks. You've got Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, Eli Holstein, and Dylan Larnigan. All four guys offer you something. All four guys have unique skill sets. All four guys give you a lot more than what Tyler Buchner gives you. Buchner, no offense to him, but he only threw for roughly 600 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 picks a season ago at Notre Dame. So doesn't really offer you a whole lot there. I mean, if this was a Bryce Young type of talent, if this was a Caleb Williams type of talent at USC, if this was a Drake May type of talent in North Carolina, if this was a Trevor Lawrence or a Deshaun Watson type of talent back there at Clemson, then I can say, hey, it's worth the risk you losing one or a couple of quarterbacks to the portal because you're bringing in a generational talent, especially with the defense that we saw in the spring game, and especially if that defense carries that energy from the spring game into the season in the fall. But because Tyler Buchner is not of the same caliber as the quarterbacks I just mentioned, there is no reward factor to the risk. It's way more risk to bring in Buchner, and you risk losing, one to two of the quarterbacks that you already have on the roster that have been a part of your program, in your program, learning your program, knowing your program, developing within your program. And I look at whether you have a Jalen Milroe out there at quarterback, you can win with Jalen Milroe. Whether you have a Ty Simpson out there at quarterback, you can win with Ty Simpson. What I saw from Dylan Larnigan, you can win with him out there. At quarterback. You could even went out there with Eli Holstein. So you got the four guys that you need. You got the four guys that you can use. You got the four guys that you need to develop. My thing is that, you use the guys that you have. You work with the guys that you have. Because if I know one thing, John, it's this right here. When you have players that have worked their tails off in your system, they have toiled in your system, they have gotten developed in your system, and they really feel like I have a chance to compete and gain a starting opportunity, and then you go out there in the transfer portal and you bring somebody else in to play that guy's same position and leapfrog over that guy and replace that guy, but the player that's been in your system, they're going to feel like that's a huge slap in the face to him. That's a huge middle finger to him. That's a huge disrespect to him. You're basically telling him with that move, we don't believe in you. We don't think you're good enough. We don't think that you're qualified enough to play this position. So that's why when you got 4- and 5-star talent that you recruited, you work, you develop with that 4- and 5-star talent. And Bama needs to allow Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson to show that they're the guy. But at this point, Bama needs to allow Jalen Milroe, if it's him, show him to show them, hey, I'm the guy. Ty Simpson, show them that he is the guy. Don't get anybody from this transfer portal. Allow the guys that you've recruited, allow the guys that have been in your program, understanding your culture, to show you I am the guy for this job. But I just thought it was interesting how yesterday, we got the news Tyler Buchner from Notre Dame visiting the University of Alabama program. Hopefully, it's just a small talk, a small conversation, a small sip of water, and that's it. And we can continue with the 4 guys you got on this roster and worked with the 4 guys already in the program. But we go to our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting started. Upon our return, we go to the phone lines to grab your calls, your thoughts, a dialogue, a conversation with you, the Tide fans, comes after this.
I'm Malachi Moore, and you're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith on Touchdown Alabama YouTube channel.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, people, we're back to the action from the break on a Wednesday, hump day, hottest show on the streets. Talking your Bama football news in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Night one of the NFL draft tomorrow. Lives about to be changed forever. Young men about to become multimillionaires. A dream that's been thought of since these young men were kids is about to come to life. We got 50 likes right now, but continue hitting that like button, tapping that thumbs up, giving us a like on the show. We're going for 100 likes. Continue hitting the like button. Appreciate my man Ty Alexander with that $9.99 and the super chats dropping the love there in the bucket. Appreciate that from Ty Alexander. That daily super chat go $100 daily. Super chat going $100 right there. We appreciate you guys for making this your spot right here for Bama football. But we go to the phone lines to get your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, it's Juwan from Arkansas. How you doing?
Doing great, Juwan, and yourself?
Doing well this evening.
What's on your mind, man?
I'm just calling in to talk about the quarterbacks, man. I just can't believe that Alabama's even going. Well, we don't know for sure. We don't know that anybody from Alabama has actively looking for a quarterback in the transfer portal. We don't know if they want Tyler Buckner or not. But I still say that if they do pull in the transfer, it's going to hurt the quarterbacks in the room. You're going to lose either Ty Simpson or Jalen Milroe or possibly both of these guys if you pull in any transfer. And right now, Tyler Buckner's the only guy in the portal. But I think Alabama should live or die by Jalen Milroe. I just know that he's going to be ready whenever the lights turn on. It's different than having just a practice or a scrimmage. And people have to look at this. No, none of those receivers did any of the quarterbacks any justice. Right. 8 drop balls. Now, I love how Miles Kitselman caught the ball at the tight end position. I love how Danny Lewis caught the football at the tight end position. I love what Justice Haynes were doing. Those guys are all going to be playmakers. They're going to be prime contributors whenever fall comes. I see that right now. But I look at Jalen Milroe. You look at that touchdown he scored whenever he ran that zone read and went straight up the middle. Guys, they're out there. If you touch the quarterback, he's down. He went untouched into that end zone. So you picture what he's going to do on a Saturday whenever that play breaks down, when you're playing LSU in Tuscaloosa on a Saturday and everything breaks down. You're going to need those legs of Jalen Milroe to win that game. I'm still going to keep riding with that until the fall comes. Jalen Milroe gives Alabama the best chance to win a national championship, man. The jury's still out on Ty Simpson. And I love Ty Simpson. I followed him whenever he came out of high school. I know about his dad being a head coach at UT Martin. But the more I keep looking at him, I'll give him a pass too. He had a dislocated finger, so some of those throws are off on him. Maybe if his finger was in better health, he could have threw a couple better passes. But he did not look terrible is the thing. I want people to stop acting like they just looked terrible, like they couldn't hit anything, because receivers didn't help. So we got to look at that. If we're going to criticize the quarterbacks, we have to criticize the pass catchers. As a wide receiver, your job isn't to be Jalen Waddle. Your job isn't to be Devontae Smith and win the Heisman. Your job is to catch the ball, move the chains. Now, what you do after you make the catch is on you. You can take it 80 yards, or you can just get a first down and run out of bounds. But Alabama does not need explosive plays. Let's just move the chains, keep the offense simple. That's my opinion on that. But also in the spring game, I love what Earl Little Jr. did. He had the highlight play, that diving interception. That was sick. We see early potential in him right there. I love how Malachi Moore, he stepped his game up a lot. So JaQuincy McKinstry, he was out there balling. So instead of everybody being negative and looking at the negative stuff from the scrimmage, just look at some of the good things. Defense is looking tough, you know? So I just encourage everybody to keep a more open mind. Don't think the sky is falling. Now, I do think that Coach Saban, if there was a better quarterback in the portal, that they would have, if it was a Drake May, or a Caleb Williams or a player of that caliber, but nobody in that portal is even touching Jalen Milroe, a fraction of the talent that he has. Notre Dame would trade Tyler Buckner for Jalen Milroe in a heartbeat if Sam Hartman wasn't there. So people have to realize that. In the window, we don't know how much longer Coach Saban wants to be a coach. So maybe that's why he's making all these moves in the transfer portal and doing stuff like that. Like I said, Tyler Buckner's still not on campus. So everybody needs to cool it. Let's wait till September rolls around or fall camp rolls around, and we'll see. We'll know a little bit more about what's going on. But my opinion, it needs to be Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe or Dylan Lon. Well, I'm not gonna. We know Dylan is not gonna get a chance. But how Lonergan stood in that pocket with those big guys rushing down on him, and he showed that poise. You could tell by his helmet how he read it from the sideline from right to left, and then made that nice touchdown pass to Justice Haynes, which, in my opinion, Justice Haynes could be a 5-star running back or a 5-star wide receiver. Either way, you got to get that guy on the field. Justice Haynes was balling so hard, man, I almost forgot that Jason McClellan or any of the other running backs were on the roster. So let's just keep an open mind. Let's just stay positive and watch what happens, man, because at the end of the day, man, this is Coach Saban. This is the Alabama Crimson Tide. They're going to put a product out on that field that's going to be ready to play as hard as they possibly can and make everybody happy. There is a Bama standard, but you got to understand, these kids that are on this roster now, they don't know. They know about 6 national championships, but they haven't been a part of that. So they're going to acquire it, the feeling and what it takes over time. Of course they know about Coach Saban and the legend that he is. And that's why they're there at Alabama, to be coached up. So let's give these kids a chance to get coached up, and let's see what they do in the fall. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate the call.
Appreciate Juwan calling in there from Arkansas, giving his thoughts on the show. We grabbed this call here, John. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
This is Miles calling from Athens, Alabama. What's good, Stephen?
Doing great, Miles, and yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. So I wanted to call in about the topic about the quarterback. I say the only reason it'd be good if it was like he was to come and be like a backup and be like you said, like a grad assistant to the quarterback so they can learn the scheme better. You know, somebody who's familiar with Reese's offense and all that stuff, he could come in and, you know, help out in that route. What you think about that?
I mean, as a GA, if Buckner was to come in as a GA, I'd be fine with that. If Buckner was to come in, as a walk-on, that'd be, I would even find a way to be okay with that. My thing is, don't offer the scholarship. That's my thing. Because once you offer the scholarship, you're taking a scholarship away from somebody else. And on top of that, once you offer that scholarship, that's literally telling a Ty Simpson or Jalen Milroe, we do not think you're good enough, so we're going to bring this guy in here on scholarship, and you can risk losing one or both to that portal. So if he comes in, if he were to come as a GA, I'm cool with that. If Buckner was to come as a walk-on, I'll find a way to be cool with that. I know he's visiting just right now, but my thing is, if you're Coach Saban, I would not bring him in as no scholarship quarterback. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. I think we're in a good position. I think we'll be all right this year. Our defense straight. Just got to get them receivers ready.
Just got to get through everything healthy, Miles. Appreciate Miles calling there from Athens. Got to make sure everybody's healthy. But we got to shout out Jonathan McMillan, who put in a $100 super chat. Jonathan McMillan helping us hit that daily super chat goal of $100. We got Dance and Steve making an appearance there on the screen. Jonathan McMillan showing big love to the show. We appreciate him. We continue with phone calls here, 205-448-1350. There's another call there in queue, John, where there's no call in queue right there. But continue to get your calls in here. We go to a cool call topic. This was on John Metchie, former Alabama wide receiver John Metchie, who missed his entire rookie season last year for the Houston Texans due to he was diagnosed with a treatable form of leukemia last July. But Metchie, just like Eli Gold, has battled back strong. He has finished all of the cancer treatments. He is healthy from the leukemia. He is good to go. And according to head coach DeMeco Ryans, John Metchie is ready to play the 2023 season this coming up fall. So really excited to see John Metchie back there on the field as a wide receiver, catching passes, making plays. Very good day. Very good day to hear this news here on one John Metchie. Extremely excited to see what he does out there on the field. We go to another break right here, folks. We'll touch that dial upon our return. You know, Alabama's had a lot of impressive freshmen start on the offensive line. But is there another one coming? Is there another one already here that will start on the offensive line this upcoming season? We'll talk about it after this.
Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We back to the action here, folks, from the break over number one form, number one ticket for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA, my man John Ivory in the production studio. We're right now at 70 likes on the show. We want that 130 more likes right there. Continue tapping that like button, giving us that thumbs up, liking the show, making this your spot to talk Alabama football. Hit that subscribe button as well. Share the show to all that you know so they can miss nothing. They can get all of what they need when it comes down to Alabama football content. But second topic of conversation here, John, the Alabama offensive line. It's one of the positions where fans are talking about. It's the toughness back. It's the physicality back. Is the smack them around in the mouth back. Is that type of play back on the offensive line, bullying opposing defensive lines across the line of scrimmage. Is that back? And when I look at the spring game, the A-Day game over on last week, the one position I looked at was at left tackle. You know, Elijah Pritchett has he has talent, but speed of the guys coming off the edge got him a little bit. You know, in that A-Day game, and you have to wonder, you know, if Alabama does not decide to flip J.C. Latham from right tackle to left tackle, what would be the move that Coach Saban would go with? Well, one move I think he would go with, you got to look at five-star freshman Kaydn Proctor, who you flipped over from Iowa in the 2023 class. I think this is the young man that becomes the next freshman starter on the offensive line. He's 6'7", 354 pounds, massive human being. That 6'7", 354, that's like Evan Neal big. Remember Evan Neal was like 6'7", 360? This is 6'7", 354. So this is basically the equivalent of Evan Neal, literally. And going back to the spring game, Proctor played on that second-team offensive line that had Miles McVay and Onlas Anganine, and those guys were pounding people. I mean, Anganine was just throwing folks to the ground. Miles McVay was out there working. Nobody got to the quarterback around Kaydn Proctor. That's how elite, legit he was out there. Like, nobody got around the end to get the quarterback off of Kaydn Proctor's side. So, for Eric Wolford, as the O-line coach, he's got his guys in here, and he's got a potential starter at offensive tackle with Kaydn Proctor. And we've seen in years past in the Nick Saban era, freshmen get the opportunity to start and or get big playing time on the offensive line. This all goes back to 2008, with 2007, of course, with big Andre Smith. Big Andre Smith started as a freshman in 2006. Started as a freshman on the offensive line. That was big Andre Smith there. But you go from him to Cam Robinson, 2014. Started as a freshman on the offensive line. Jonah Williams, 2016. Started as a freshman on the offensive line. Alex Leatherwood, 2017, started on the offensive line. Jedrick Will started. Well, he didn't start, but got playing time, big playing time on the offensive line. Evan Neal started on the offensive line. Was a guard first and got moved to tackle. J.C. Latham got quite the amount of playing time his freshman season, 2021, on the offensive line. Tyler Booker last season saw action at both left guard and right guard on the offensive line. So all of these guys are notable names. Their freshman year, they got an opportunity. They did. And now you look at a Kaydn Proctor who in my opinion, going to see and needs to see an opportunity there as a starter at left tackle on the offensive line, or getting just a whole bunch of playing time with that first group, because you look at 6'7", 354, you just don't sit that down. Like you don't bench that. That has to play. You got to play. That young man with that type of ability, size, length, wingspan, footwork. Normally, when Coach Saban looks at offensive tackles, he wants them to be 6'6", 6'7", long, lengthy, athletic, big wingspan. Probably the only offensive tackle that started at Alabama that did not have that type of a wingspan, Barrett Jones, and he was just extremely cerebral, smart, instinctive. Barrett Jones was probably the only one that was not of big size and big wingspan starting there on the offensive line, primarily as a left tackle. But usually, when you look at that position, Saban wants size, long arms, big hands, long fingers, wingspan, athleticism, and assuring that protection there of the quarterback. So definitely keep your eyes on Kaydn Proctor moving forward. Had a very good A-Day, a very good spring all the way around. People were very impressed. And looking forward to seeing his growth here bring summer workouts going into fall camp and next season. But we go to another break here, folks. We'll touch that down on the show. When we get back, we return to the phone lines. We get your calls, your thoughts, your conversations. We return to you, the Bama Nation, right after this.
What's up, Bama Nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, in my own words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide, roll!
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, people, tomorrow night, the NFL Draft. How many players can Bama get in that first round? Will it have the number one overall pick in Bryce Young? Will it have Young and Will Anderson go 1 and 2 back-to-back? So much to keep your eyes on for tomorrow night. But you're right here on the hottest show on the streets. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Got my man John Ivory in the production studio. We're 15 likes away from 100. Continue tapping that like button, giving us that thumbs up right there, hitting the like button on the show, making this your spot here to talk Bama football. And we go to the phone lines to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be made known, 205-448-1358. We grab this call right here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Chad from Miami.
What's going on, Chad?
Not much, man. I didn't get a chance to call into your show on Monday. I was sleeping, but I did catch the replay, though.
Nothing wrong with that, Chad. What's on your mind, man?
So, yeah, I did take some notes from the Alabama A-Day game, man. It was very interesting. It was all right. So let me break it down. So, running backs. I put that they're playing for their jobs, man. Justin Haynes is gonna take away some playing time from some of the starters this weekend. This upcoming season. Receivers got to catch the damn ball. How are you dropping wide open passes? Receivers need to be roommates with the football and the quarterbacks to build chemistry. And then also, what a lot of people are talking about is will the wide receiver coach be in Alabama next year? Because Judy and all the receivers that were in that class, they didn't get recruited by Homer Wiggins. He came in after they were recruited. And then the receivers that's been in Alabama lately that's been coming in, he hasn't really done much with them. Tight end also played very good. They ran a couple good routes. There's a lot more movement, but like I said, they also have to catch the ball. O-line was great besides the left side of the line. Like, they struggle against the pass rushers in D-line. And then Proctor is a beast. I believe he should be starting. Whether it's left guard or left tackle, we need to get him on the field. Quarterback, they just need to be protected, like I said, man. The O-line did struggle on the left side. Ty Simpson is mobile. He can run, but he just gets a little bit of happy feet in the pocket. He made a lot of good decisions besides that pick he threw in the end zone, but he needs to make all his reads before he starts running. The game will eventually slow down to him, but he just has to build chemistry with receivers. And then that one bad ball placement that got Amari Niblack hit. Milroe, he struggles at throwing the ball outside the numbers and down the field. He also has to work on his ball placement. And then I saw him. They showed it on the replay that he was staring down his receivers and he was making one or two reads max. He needed to make all his reads before he started throwing the ball down the field. And then pretty much he just got to get better chemistry receivers and just do his thing. And then defense, man, they played lights out. I think the only bad thing about the defense was Terrion and Kool-Aid got beat. Both got beat on one play, but they recovered and balled out the rest of the game. Earl and then also Jake Pope, those guys are magical. So was Caleb Downs. I got to give them their props. And then on top of that, with Terrion and Kool-Aid, this is a major improvement I've seen from over the last 2 years. They were attacking the 50-50 balls, and then on top of that, even when the receivers had a chance to catch those balls, they knocked the ball away. So they weren't handsy like they were for the last 2 years. I realized they stopped grabbing receivers a lot going on the field and just played with technique. And then the overall defense, they pretty much they were very ferocious, and they just saw an attack. They weren't overthinking or they weren't in the wrong place and so on and so forth. And that's a major improvement from the defense. So I'm very happy about that.
I mean, Chad, absolutely. You look at the job that Kevin Steele has done as a defensive coordinator. It's not, thinking it, see it, and go get it. And that's what he preaches. You see it, you go get it, you play fast, you do everything at full speed. Even if you make a mistake at full speed. So that way, when we come back to it, we can make those necessary corrections. Javaris Robinson, as the secondary coach, done a good job with the technique of Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold. So the spring game, you come away with a good bit of your questions answered. I know people are still looking at it, but the quarterback will round itself out. Quarterback will round itself. Appreciate Chad from Miami for the call. The quarterback will round itself out. But we're going to go on this call right here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, this is Demetrius McClellan calling from Columbus, Georgia.
Demetrius, what's up? What's going on?
Man, nothing much. I just want to make quick statements, and I'm not going to hold you up a little longer. But I coached years ago, and I know a lot of folks were, and they keep talking about the quarterback position. But I watched the Georgia game, and I watched the Alabama games, the spring games. And I can tell you this right now: Georgia's offense wasn't really challenged much because the defense, I think, because they lost a lot of players, but they still can plug and play. But at the same time, I've seen more, a team that's going to struggle a little bit on the defensive side. If you look at their defensive backs. With Alabama, I see a very seasoned team, but a lot of folks don't see it. I see a good team. I honestly see it because they play relaxed plays, so they're going to show you everything in the book, So they're just trying to figure out who's who and where we need to place them. I think we got enough people on that roster that can come in and do some good things this year. But if you look at the defensive backs, the defensive back schemes are very complex, a lot of assignments when you're running the defensive back. So everybody's got to understand what their assignment is. And I think these guys are pretty much smart. These guys they recruited, they look very seasoned, they look very smart and understand their roles, the recovery times that they're able to close in on the ball. I'm telling you, I think Alabama's defense was going to keep them a lot in the game, and then the offense is going to find its way on. If you look at the quarterback play, I didn't see bad quarterback play. What I saw was a good defense. That's what I saw. And the offense is not seasoned there yet, but I seen a good defense. If you look at the interceptions that Miro threw, that one interception he tried to throw the fly. I'm not sure he was trying to throw it to on that seam route, but he was basically hit across the elbow when he was throwing that ball. So that messed up the velocity right there. He was hit. And then that one before halftime, he just threw a Hail Mary. It is basically just throwing the ball up, but, careless play, but everybody going to look at it and say it's bad, indecisive decision making. I see a real good team. I see a team that's going to be controlled by the defense, and I think the offense is going to come along with it. And that's all I got to say, man. I hear you comments after that.
Appreciate Demetrius calling in from Columbus, and I've been saying the same thing. I look at this team, I've said this, it mirrors 2011 Alabama, where you ran by defense, which after 5 years dealing with Pete Golden and all the frustration, what were you, the Alabama fans, saying? Where's our defense? Where's the defense? Where is it? Well, here it is. You saw it right there in the spring. There it is. You've been crying for it. Kevin didn't brought it to you. So there's your defense. Offensively, you're going to have to carry the offense along a little bit, and that's not a bad thing. This is a team that does not necessarily need a Superman quarterback. Bryce Young was phenomenal. And the two teams the last couple of years prior to this one maybe needed a Superman quarterback. This one does not need one. We'll take this call. Here you're live on the show. What's happening, how we feeling, state your name, and where you calling from.
Steve going on to G for Riley.
What's happening, man?
Not much. Hey, first off, the first thing I was looking for in A-Day was how we gonna play the ball in the air. It looked like T-Rod kind of got that cleared up. Now, we ain't seen it against no crazy passing attack, no A&M, no Oklahoma, nothing like that. But I'm still not gonna take away the fact that from last year, like you said, we seen a lot of holding, we seen a lot of balls, the DBs being lost when the ball's in the air and stuff like that. So secondary play looks better. I remember calling before, and we was talking about Roach. I was saying, well, what Freddie gonna do? Freddie ain't produced nothing in a while, but it looked like we might have got some D linemen now. D-line looked like it was getting some good pressure. But I'm gonna say this. We talked about this before, because I'm never gonna let Save It Up on playing Chris Owens. I don't know what the hell. I hate to keep talking about something that 3 years ago, but it's still in the back of my mind. I just feel like what we got right now is Saban gonna play the best players. That's my next biggest worry. That's been my biggest worry with Saban for the past 3 years. The Pete Golden situation, and he's heavy seniority. You know what I'm saying? But you got Kirby on the other side who ain't worried about seniority. He put the dog out there. So if Saban can get back to letting the dogs rock, not trying to please too many people, I think we go undefeated. I ain't just saying it because I'm a Bama fan. It's all what we seen. If you look at last spring game, the running backs were breaking open big runs and big plays was going over the top. This year, no back broke a big run over what, 15? So that's a tell right there. That let you know we flying to the ball, D-line locking out. So we really got it. Is what Saban gonna do at middle linebacker? Because me personally, I think the linebacker core should be what's the guy's name? Lawson.
Yeah.
And Lawson, Jefferson, and what's the other name? 30. Campbell. That's the 3-man rotation at middle. Blackshaw looked okay, but Blackshaw gave up that pass play to Justice Haynes. So if it's tough pickings, then any mistake I gotta hold you to it. So Blackshaw, we've been hoping and praying for you, but like I said, you clearly blew that pickup assignment on Haynes. So I got to put Jefferson, Lawson, and Jihad as a 3-man rotation. If Saban give us that, nobody's messing with us this year. You know what I'm saying? As long as he don't do a Henry To'o, I got to play this guy because he know all 500 plays. Nobody cares about that. We got the team this year, Saban. If we rocking Jihad Campbell, Lawson, Justin Jefferson, we back. I'm gonna holler at you, Steve.
Appreciate G calling in from Raleigh right there, and so going off of G's thought, if you look at the offensive line, going off of G's thought, do you go 2 freshmen for the offensive line? Because like I said, you look at Kaydn Proctor at left tackle, but I mean, could you put Olas Enganine at left guard? I mean, he was throwing some folks down in the spring game. I mean, would you do that? Could you go with Miles McVay left guard? If we're gonna put the doggy dogs out in the field, offensive line, that left spot, that left side, could you look at Proctor Enganine or Proctor McVay? That could be something interesting there, too. But we take this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven. It's your boy Noah from Virginia. How are you, my man?
Doing good, Noah, and yourself?
I'm doing good, bud. I'm out here. Yeah, my buddy, he's from Moulton, Alabama. He told me he was at the spring practice thing.
What did he see?
He's watching. He said, not Ty Sims. Jalen Monroe. He said he's a good thrower.
Miro's gotten better. I mean, he has. He's gotten better. It's just with him, it's still you're putting it all together. But he has improved.
Yeah. Hey, Steven.
Go ahead.
And I hope Jalen Monroe. I hope he do not throw no intercept. We can hope we can beat Tennessee, LSU. Get back on top at number 1, not for Georgia. Or I hope to see Nick Saban bring our boys to the national championship, take us the victory over. Like we played Georgia in the national championship. Let's kick Georgia's butt. My prediction like we played Georgia for the national championship. My prediction will be over our DM 50-24 over Georgia.
Noah already ready. Appreciate Noah calling in for Virginia. He already ready. He got the prediction 50-24. We're in spring. We're in spring. And Noah's already got his prediction for the college football playoff national championship, saying Bama would beat Georgia 50-24. We're going to put that on the whiteboard there, John. We're going to take this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve? Elijah from Jersey, man. How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing good, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Just listening to a lot of these callers, see what people's writing and things like that. Um, I think a lot of people read too much into this A-Day game, Steve. To me, this A-Day game is uh, it's a great way to find out who knows what they're doing and if people are using the right techniques, things like that, to evaluate what did you learn. Do you know what's going on? Are you somebody that when it comes to fall camp, we're going to have to work with you a little bit more? Things like that. I don't think it determines on who's the starter. From what I've seen, Steve, I believe that Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe could have, like we had a few years ago, where a guy might play 3 or 4 series with Jalen Hurts and what was the other guy that they were splitting time at the beginning until somebody won it over?
Blake Barnett.
Blake Barnett, yeah. I could see that happening this year because it's a lot of unknowns with this team, Steve. I mean, we all are true Bama fans, but we don't have a solidified quarterback going into the season. That position is up for grabs. To me, not one receiver has separated themselves from the bunch to be the main go-to guy. Everything, it seems like, is a big competition. We don't have anybody really at the skill positions except for maybe the running back position. But I still think that's going to be a position that a lot of people get rotated in and things like that. But even like the quarterbacks, the receivers, things like that, I mean, a lot of it to me, Steve, is still up for grabs. And like I said, I think the A-Day game is to see if you know what you're doing, see what you've learned, and how you can put that to a game-like situation. Even on the defensive side of the ball, it's how is your technique, especially for the secondary? Do you guys know the coverage? Things like that, just to find out what you do know. Because I look at it and say, Steve, these guys know they're still playing against each other. They're giving a great effort, but it ain't like you got Texas on the other side. It ain't like you got LSU on the other side. You know what I mean? It's still a controlled game scrimmage. So, I don't read a whole lot into the A-Day. I do like to see, who knows what, who's out of place, who's missing assignments and things like that. But I believe this year, it feels like, to me, Steve, it feels like a rebuilding year. Who's going to step up to the plate? We don't know who it is yet. Like I said, the most solid group out there probably is the running back group, But it feels like a rebuilding year, and I'm just anxious to see what all these guys bring to the table, man. Let me know how you feel, Steve.
Appreciate Elijah there calling from Jersey. I mean, there are questions, of course, but at the same time, I look at it like this. You really, and this is how Saban likes to kind of play with it here, you really like it when you can go into fall camp without people knowing who your quarterback is, right? Especially, if you go into fall camp already knowing who your quarterback is, then that's cool in a sense for you being that team, but it's not cool in a sense for the opposition to already know, okay, that's their quarterback. We can just set up and know how to play against them, how to scheme for them, how to scheme them out, all of that, the chess match there. Versus if you don't know who that quarterback is, then yes, for the fans of that team, it may be a scary thought. For the opposition, it's actually a pretty good thing because they don't know who to scheme up for themselves. So I look back at it, 2011, we really didn't know who the quarterback was going to be at that point in time. It took game number 2 of a season against Penn State where A.J. McCarron finally grabbed, and we saw what happened. We knew the pieces that Alabama had around the quarterback, but not necessarily did not know who the quarterback would be. So this year's team, the pieces around that position. Yes, receivers have got to catch the football, absolutely. But we know the pieces around the quarterback. Just got to see which one of these 2 or which one of these 4, if you count Holstein and Larnigan, breaks out of this thing as the number 1 guy. But we grab this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve, man? It's Tobias out in Fresno. How you doing, man? How you been?
Man, I'm doing great, man. How are you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling pretty good, man. I've been working a lot. I catch your show on replay, man. Keep up the great work as always. I always love complimenting you, man. Just from podcast to now, you just doing it great, man. You always ask those great questions in the meeting room, and I'm always look forward to seeing, what Steve is going to ask to get us those nuggets, those gems to let us know what kind of team we have. But I agree with Elijah. Actually, a lot of times I'm agreeing with Elijah. I'm kind of mediocre, like in between, man. I don't want to get too high or too low about this A-Day game. Last year, I allowed myself to get a little bit too hyped up, and I allowed my eyes not to see what they were seeing. And so I'll just say that I'm really excited about the offensive line. I agree. There should be 2 freshmen starting this year, Steve. I just believe that, man. And I think it's the 2 that you named. I think it's Proctor. I think it's that Alaman Olos kid. I saw him destroying people. Knew what he was doing. I think he's only going to get better. He has a wide base. It would be very difficult for teams to handle us in that ground and pound and then play action. So that's what I see. Defensive line, I like our rotation. I'm not mad at it. I like we got some big. I like that we got some good footwork. I think there was a little bit of a struggle a couple of times getting to the quarterback, but that's also because of the good play of the tackles. I agree with the 2 previous calls ago about the inside linebackers. I'm pretty excited about who's going to step up there. I think we'll be okay either way because those guys are thumpers. So that's the first thing I was looking for. Like, who's going to thump? Like, who's coming through with the heat? And so I think we'll be okay there. Secondary, I'm a little bit worried about our secondary, and not because they're not talented. So I'm excited about it, but here's my point. I'm not excited, real excited about the quarterbacks. I hope they don't listen to this broadcast because I don't want them to be discouraged, Steve. But man, I don't see it. I hope they get there. I don't mean no harm, but what makes me worried is that when you don't have great quarterback play, then it hurts your development as a defensive back because you're not going against a sharpshooter every day. So your technique, your speed, your hips, everything, you're not getting that work because you got somebody who can't go through their progressions quickly. They're not a sharpshooter, and they're going to tuck it and run. And then, as of right now, fumble or throw an interception. I saw that with Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts, man. I hate to even say this stuff. But through that season, I was scared every game. That's that 2015 season. And if you remember, Steve, our outside linebackers were so disruptive and nasty. Plus, you had Jonathan Allen in the middle. That they were making quarterbacks throw in 1.5 seconds, no more than 2 seconds. So we ended up with so many non-offensive touchdowns that year. Steve, you remember that, man. And so we were just celebrating that incredible defense. But it was all up front that was making our DBs look even more wonderful than they were. And I do think losing Eddie hurt us, in the championship game. We needed Jackson back there. But my point is Deshaun Watson was able to put together a game and with 1 second left, 2 seconds left, whatever it was, win because we had not gone against a prolific quarterback who could move and throw. So anyway, all that to say, I'm hopeful, but I'm in the middle. I hope things work out. I know this transfer person came meeting. I don't know if I don't see why we would need him. I don't see how he's better than these two or three. But running back, man, I'm excited about that. I'll leave you with that. I got the message about the no more than 5 minutes. Listen, be blessed, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Roll Tide.
Appreciate Tobias calling out of Fresno to the show. This is why we enjoy football, man. We enjoy conversations. We enjoy opinions. How do you feel about your team after a spring game going into the off season? We take this call. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, it's Chad. I just missed one point I wanted to get off, if you have time.
Go ahead.
I just want to say I had no criticism I have no quarrels between Milroe or the other quarterback, Ty Simpson. I think they both need to improve. Bama pretty much just need a game manager this season on offense while we're running the ball. Just make the plays when we need them to, keep the chains moving, and don't turn the ball over. Let the O-line run over people and unleash the defense pretty much.
Absolutely, Chad. They're calling in from Miami, appreciating that. Just getting back to Tobias, agreeing with the point I made earlier on starting two freshmen on the offensive line. I know currently Darian Dalcourt is the left guard, and Dalcourt, good young man, good guy. But I mean, just watching Olas Enganin just wreck people out there, and then watching Big Miles McVay out there, either one of those two, Enganin or McVay, as a guard next to Proctor as a tackle. Both of those freshmen out there, see what they do. See what you got right there. I mean, really, truly see what you got right there. These offensive linemen that Eric Wolford has recruited, they're coming in mean in business. And all of these guys, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", big dudes. Probably the smallest of the group is Rock Montgomery, and he's 6'4", and he's probably the most underrated of the group. So, I mean, if you could look at an opportunity where you could start two freshmen on the offensive line, this would be a shot right here. But we'll see how Saban plays this. Guys, shout out Tobias with that $50 donation in the Super Chats. We appreciate the love there from Tobias. Dancing Steven knows what he's doing right there, getting down to business there with that donation coming in. Call topic, folks. We got the NFL draft tomorrow night from Kansas City, Missouri. How many guys can Alabama get in the first round? Nick Saban since 2008. We're talking 106 draft picks in that span. We're talking 41 first rounders in that span. Could Alabama have 4 more in the first round and get Saban to 45 first rounders? We know Will Anderson, we know Bryce Young more than likely will be the number 1 overall pick. He would give Nick Saban his first number 1 overall pick for Alabama. Will Anderson could go number 2 to the Houston Texans, giving Alabama that 1-2 combo right there. They both will go top 5. And then you look at, Brian Branch. He could go as high as 10 to the Eagles. Could go anywhere in that first round. And then you got Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, my gosh, you got the Seahawks. You got the Saints. You got Tampa Bay. You got Kansas City. Several teams that are looking at Jahmyr Gibbs. So Bama could end up with 4 guys in the first round of a draft. 2 we know concretely, Bryce and Will. But Brian Branch, don't sneeze on that. Could very well go first round. Jahmyr Gibbs as well. But congrats to all of these young men about to become multimillionaires in the next hours or so. I mean, this is a very special moment for them and for their families. But we'll take a final break here on the show and touch that dial. Upon our return, we get a little preview of Alabama's defensive secondary. How could it end up shaking out? We'll talk about it after this.
Look at all these great players in Touchdown Alabama magazine. Man, wait till I turn up this year. I'm gonna be on the front cover. But what if Will goes off? Or Joe, DeMarco, Chris, Tim, Christian.
Don't wait. Order now at touchdownalabama.com or call 833-483-2624 today.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
This is Chris Rogers, 2009 national champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, you know, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
All right, folks, we appreciate all of you, all of the phone calls, the chats, the conversations, the dialogue. You making this your show, your spot here to talk Crimson Tide football. Continue tapping that like button, hitting that subscribe button, sharing the show to everybody that you can. We appreciate that. And John, and for the final topic of conversation this evening, the Alabama defensive secondary, we talked about this quite a bit here on today's show, but how will this group shake out on the field? And for Nick Saban and secondary coach Travaris Robinson, T-Rob in year 2 for him at Alabama, been a defensive backs coach for a long time, the secondary put on a show on A-Day. It did. When you look at the job that Malachi Moore did, Christian Story had an interception. Terrion Arnold had a pick. Earl Little had a pick. Jake Pope completely wiped out Jermaine Burton. You had Antonio Kite with plays. Dez Ricks with plays. Like, secondary played ball. Defensive secondary played big ball. And for T-Rob and Nick Saban, can they have each guy in the right respective spot? Because opportunity for no-fly zone, again, is there, but everybody's got to be in their right spot. And so you look at Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold. These will be your 2 boundary corners. They both played last year. Kool-Aid took a big step forward from his freshman to his sophomore year. Last season, 15 pass breakups. Made a few All-America teams. Terrion Arnold played at a position last year at corner. He had never played corner prior to last year. He was mostly a safety. But last year, he did have 45 tackles, 8 pass breakups, and interception. Freshman All-SEC and freshman All-American. So both of these 2 are back at your 2 corner spots. The question is, how does the rest of the secondary look? When you talk about the star position and nickel, the money position and dime, and both safeties, as you lost Jordan Battle and DeMarco Helms to the NFL Draft, which is tomorrow. And you look at having Malachi Moore back, you have Earl Little II, you've got, so many talented guys. Caleb Downs in here, Christian Story. A lot of talented guys here in the secondary. But how, ultimately, does this group shake out? Well, on screen here, this is my projection. I'm not going to say it falls completely this way, but this would be my projection. If it ends up happening this way, John, then I should be a billionaire somewhere in Vegas. But this is my projection right here. So you got, of course, Kool-Aid and Terrion at both corners. At star, Earl Little II. The athletic pick he made off Ty Simpson, I like this guy. Dad, Earl Little Sr., played in the NFL for 9 seasons. His high school football coach at American Heritage High School in Florida was Patrick Surtain Sr., who played in the NFL for 11 years. So Earl Little would be my guy at star. That'll be my guy as the nickel back, playing the role left behind there by Brian Branch. Free safety, Malachi Moore. He played the position in high school. He went Trussville High School here in Alabama. Had a big senior year here at Trussville playing safety. Of a guy smart, instinctive, bigger now at 6 feet, 198 pounds, cerebral. I would have Malachi at free safety. Caleb Downs, I'll put strong safety. 205 pounds. He built different like a tank, but can run smooth, smooth, fluid, can cover, good hips, come down the box, hip and run support. I would have Caleb Downs right there. Christian Jones, former Alabama wide receiver, mentioned on the developmental focus point with Bo Scarborough. He talked about how Caleb Downs gives him Landon Collins vibes. We all know how good Landon Collins was. Collins was the number one safety in the 2012 class out of Louisiana, New Orleans. Caleb Downs was the number one safety, 5-star in this class, coming out of Mill Creek High School in Georgia. I would have Caleb Downs, strong safety. I would have Christian Story as the dime linebacker. He can cover, yes. He's got range, yes, at 6'1", 211 pounds, physical with the size. I would have Christian Story as the dime linebacker. However, you could also flip Story and Malachi Moore. You could have Christian Story at free safety and maybe Malachi as your dime linebacker. So those two you can flip. You can interchange. But this would just be my projection here for the Alabama secondary. Does it come to fruition? Hopefully. Hopefully for me anyway. But that would just be how I would project it right now after the A-Day game. But as always, Bama Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, coverage, material on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. If you got the Android phone for your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. Got you covered right there. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. I'll try to be back on Friday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Have those hit to your door. That link found in the description. If you're trying to grab the latest copy of TDA, the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member and or a subscriber today. That link in the description as well. Gotta shout out you, the amazing fans of Bama football, for all the calls, all the chats, the donations, the conversations we've had today. You making this your spot to talk Bama football. Gotta show some love to my man John Avery in the production studio, handling that business there from behind the scenes. And till next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored there. Get yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Enjoy the NFL draft on tomorrow night and going into the weekend. Hopefully we see quite the amount of Bama players taken off the board here. But until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen Smith, and this has been In My Own Words.